In the run-up to the war in Libya, the world was told about Muammar Gaddafi's alleged atrocities. In his painstaking documentary, The Humanitarian War, former NGO worker Julien Teil shows how these allegations were put together by a group of powerful NGOs and put before the UN, with no proof whatsoever that they were actually true. Now that the same pattern is playing out in Syria and the drums of war are once again beating, the information in the humanitarian war is becoming more important than ever. This is the GRTV Feature Interview with our special guest, Julien Teil.
This document makes it possible to understand how international law and justice works, but mostly how its basic principles can be bypassed. The resolutions passed against Libya are based on various allegations. Notably on the statement claiming that Gaddafi had led jet attacks on his own people and engaged in a violent repression against an uprising, killing more than 6,000 civilians. These allegations were spread before they could have been verified, but it was on the basis of this claim that the Libyan Jamahiriya government was suspended from the UN Human Rights Council before being referred to the UN Security Council.
So let's start talking a little bit about yourself and your background and how you came to start researching this topic and create the documentary.
Okay, in fact, I was working during a few years for a very important company in France, which is in fact collecting money for big NGOs. And I got responsibilities in this company. And during this time, I began to ask myself some questions about the ways that big NGO was working. And so when I quit this job, I got the time to work on this and to make some research. So I began to write about this. And the fact is that I got published and some people asked me to write some article about this. So I got into this NGO topic a lot during the past years. And I went to Libya because I got an invitation to go there and to help, because I knew before going there that the Libyan League for Human Rights, which is a big NGO linked to the National Endowment for Democracy and the International Federation of Human Rights, said to the United Human Rights Council that Gaddafi bombed his old people. But the fact is that I got an interview with his spokesman a few weeks ago, so I knew that there was no evidence of this. So that's one of the reasons why I went to Libya. It's because I got some material which proved that there was no evidence. In fact, I went to Geneva in July, and I got a meeting with this man, with Slimane Bouchouiguir, who's now been appointed as a new Libyan ambassador in Switzerland. So it's now someone quite important. But at the moment, I went to Geneva to have several interviews with some NGOs, and it was the first interview.
Vous avez fait un travail merveilleux en révélant les crimes de Kadhafi, notamment grâce à votre pétition qui a réuni plus de 70 ONG au Conseil de Genève. Était-ce un travail difficile de réunir beaucoup d'ONG comme ça?
Pour vous dire la vérité, c'est pas très difficile parce que tous les ONG se connaissent entre elles. Et finalement, la réunion du Conseil des droits de l'homme amène tout le monde à Genève. Et c'est à ce moment-là qu'on a fait cette pétition et qu'on a fait signer par tous ces membres.
The NGOs are obviously an extremely important part of this story, but I think another important part is the International Criminal Court and its prosecutor, who was attempting to bring war crimes charges against Gaddafi. Perhaps you can talk about the International Criminal Court and its role in this lead-up to war.
Yeah, of course. The fact is that the ICC, the International Criminal Court, is not only involved in a part of the civil war in Libya, of supporting a part. The fact is that the whole ICC history has been built with the help of NGOs, and especially the NGOs of the National Endowment for Democracy. So, since the beginning of the ICC, there is a big work between the National Endowment for Democracy, another type of NGO which is linked to the European Union and which is based on exactly the same idea of the National Endowment for Democracy, and another third cooperation of an NGO, which is the ICC now. It's International Coalition for the International Criminal Court, which is also linked to the National Endowment for Democracy. So since the beginning, this tool of so-called international justice, so-called international law, has been made and created by the same US networks. But in the Libyan case, what is very, very impressive is that when we were in Libya, we did want to investigate on the original documents of the ICC. So we downloaded it, we've been reading it, and the fact is that we didn't find any real evidence of crimes. And we also saw that Luis Moreno Ocampo, the prosecutor, asked for arrest warrants to the judge, whereas he got no evidence.
I advise you to read the application of the prosecutor's office, many pages, I think it was 77 pages. We describe in detail the facts, most of it is public. And the judges also decided, analyzing the evidence. So, of course, we are prosecutors and judges, so we rely on facts. So we prove the crimes. That's what we did. We present the case to the judges, and for a month and 10 days, 3 judges from 3 different continents make an independent evaluation, and they decided.
As pointed out by Luis Moreno Ocampo, the document does have 77 pages, but most of its content is not public. Pages 17 to 71 have been redacted, precisely the ones enclosing the summaries of evidence and testimonies.
So we've seen this entire strategy being used to build up this case for war in Libya, despite the fact there's no evidence of any kind to support the allegations. Do you think this is a template that we might see used in other countries like Syria or even Iran?
Yeah, of course, because this pattern is actually used against Syria with exactly the same networks. For example, we see the Damascus Center for Human Rights, which is also tied to the National Endowment for Democracy and the International Federation of Human Rights in Geneva, and UN Watch, of course, which is a very important NGO pushing for Israeli interest in the International Human Rights Council, United Nations Human Rights Council. So for Syria, we have exactly the same network with the exact same kind of allegation of crimes, but there is still no evidence. So we have to be very careful with this. We don't have to trust the National Endowment for Democracy. And I want to add something about the NED, because the NED is the only NGO, to me, which is presenting himself as an NGO. At the same time, they are 95% funded by the Congress of the United States. So it's a very special NGO.
So I understand that you're still obviously working on the full documentary, and we're very much looking forward to that. How can people support you with creating this documentary?
Okay, the fact is that 90% of the movie is taped. We got the tape, we got a lot of material, we got several NGOs interviews that I won't say now, but very interesting interview and very important to show and demonstrate other things linked to the war in Libya. Now the fact is that we just need money, we just need more, we need to buy a new camera to finish some interviews because we got some interviews with people, but we need more. We need also money to make the montage. We need money. It's so easy to say, but so hard to find. So if anyone wants to produce or to donate on the website, they can help. And the best way for us to do this is, of course, to do it with donation like this. We are free to do what we want, and we are free to tell the truth. So the fact is that we'd like to finish this movie with the support of people only, because it would make the movie be free first, and that's really something important to us. And at the same time, we'd like to make several language translation of the movie. Of course, one in English, which is sure 100% sure, but also one in Arabic and perhaps one in Spanish. So we need a lot of people to help as the way they can, if they can help to translate, if they can help buy money, anyway.
Well, of course, the NGOs have millions of dollars to spend on their marketing campaigns for all the things they want to get across to the public, but independent documentary filmmakers need support of the public in order to do their work, so I hope that people will check it out. Tell us the website addresses one more time.
It's www.thehumanitarianwar.com.
Excellent. Thehumanitarianwar.com. I hope people will go and check it out. It's an absolutely important documentary. So, Julien Teil, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thank you, James. I was very happy to be here.